about men from Mars?
No, you didn't.
All I'm trying to tell you is this.
Sacrifices will be made if we cannot claim a new order. So that is security, privileges, and peace maintained.
Ooh, hello. Pre-show, guys. Pre-show. We are already streaming. Just had someone walk in my door. Don't know what they're walking in for. Okay. Azio, you're asking if that's one of my tracks. Yes, it is. It's called Men from Mars, and it's on my Spotify. Ramsey, under the Link album. Link, not the link itself. The actual album is called Link. So Men from Mars. Here you go. Anyway, hello Hanway and Sonic Neutronic and Axel Soft Music. Nice of you guys to pop in. Darren, how are you, mate? Darren is muted. No audio. I like the view though. The different angle. That's actually pretty cool. I'm getting messaged on something here. Oh, leave me alone on Facebook. Please stop messaging me. Distracting. Cool. Yeah, AZ, I did a video jamming it and it ended up being slightly edited for the album, of course. But the actual video is pretty much the performance. So yeah, it was good fun making that. And I actually never really wanted it to be on the album. People kept saying to me, "Oh, put it on the album, it's really good. So I ended up doing it. But it's one of those things you kind of sometimes don't think your jams are that good, and some people do. I don't know. Who knows how the world works? It's a funny old place, the world. Okay, now Darren, we don't have any audio from you, buddy. No audio. You could try restarting your browser and try all the little tricks. But you've got a good connection. I don't know if we have Chob coming in. I haven't actually heard from him. I thought he was going to come on because he had some sort of thing to add to the show today, but I haven't seen him. Anyway, audio. I'm not getting it. you can... No, not getting it. It's definitely turned on at our end, so there's no problem here. It's definitely your end. I haven't changed a thing, I promise. I did update the software though. But yeah. Restart your connection, restart your call, maybe. Try all those things. Beautiful.
Yes, can you hear me
there
now?
we go. Oh yeah, but it's extremely loud.
Right, how's that? Is that better? Let's
Yep.
come down a bit.
Yeah, what did you just do? Turn your mute off?
No, I'm still working on the old coming out of the headphone socket, but because I've got the cordless on, I didn't know it wasn't turned up on the headphone socket.
Trap for young players. 888 Berg, how you going? So yeah, I don't know if we've got Chob. I haven't seen him online either, so I guess he's not coming.
I think last time I heard him, he said he might try.
Well, if he ain't going to be here, we shall put the chatties in that corner instead. I know Inky is a possible. Wouldn't mind getting Inky on. She's not in the chat yet though, because today's topic is kind of right down her. Well, she's quite knowledgeable actually. Well, I don't know how knowledgeable. Compared to some people, she may not be, but in my mind, she is because she's actually studied this topic at a university level. So, in my mind, that's knowledgeable. Anyway, I will persevere with what do we got here? Wagyu, how you going, Mr. Mac? Awesome. What's the time? Okay, we've got 10 minutes before this is the pre-show for anyone who's lurking. I don't think there's anyone lurking. I think most of people who are in the chat are actually on the concurrent viewers. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Stream looks good. Healthy stream. It says I actually timed the delay this week. It's about 10 seconds. So
yeah, I think my voice is.
I worked out it's about 10 seconds. Now, it can be actually shorter than that. I've been told YouTube are actually doing some tricks at the moment with their streaming stuff. You guys can let us know in the chat. Is this coming through at full HD, in other words 1080, or is it actually being scaled down to SD? I know in some countries they've talked actually scaling it down to SD, and I know they talked about the European region. That would probably affect the UK, I'm guessing. So let us know if you're getting full HD on the stream or if you're getting scaled. If you're feeling like a fish and getting scaled. 1080 says we're good, cool. I know some of you are in the US, so you'd probably get the full HD over there. But if you're in the UK or Europe, let us know. I don't know whether they've kicked in on that new rule yet, or maybe it doesn't apply for streams. I don't know. Anyway, it should be full HD anyway. So cool. Now this week we are doing, as it says on the title, online collaboration. I'm going to give everyone a big, massive caveat here. I am just as knowledgeable as maybe someone who's first thought, let's check into online collaboration. That's pretty much me a couple of days ago. So I'm not going to be professing as I'm some sort of expert on this. It's purely just investigatory. So we'll see how we go. I did spend probably about two or 3 days semi-studying it and installing software and doing sorts of things, but I actually haven't yet had an actual real online collaboration with anyone yet. So that'll be probably part 2. I think we'll probably end up doing a part 2 to this. Andrew's jumped in. Hello, Andrew. Nice to see you still awake over there. It's almost about midnight in your place. So that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Michael B, how are you, mate? Nice to see you again. Yeah, see you. 10 seconds, you'll hear me say hi. I wonder if chat is instantaneous though. I think chat's instantaneous.
I think it is.
Yeah. So I can say something in chat and then, yeah, it'll happen straight away. Cool. All right. Doesn't look like we're going to have Chob here, so I'm going to take him out. And I'll put him back in if he comes. So instead of Chob, which one's Chob? Is that there? Yeah, that's there. We'll put Chatties in there. Chatties.
Oh dear.
And now Chatties is not working, and that's because I need to click on there and copy this link, this amazing link here, and do some magic. Okay. If everything goes well, we should have chatties. Yes, we do. Look at that. Amazing. Amazing. And they may even work here too. Look at this. Ooh. Beautiful. Awesome. Why does it say hi, live chat down the bottom? That's really annoying. I don't know why it says that. Anyway, who cares? Let's just let us scroll up. Hi, everyone. If you're new to the stream, jump into chat because we're going to be talking to people in the chat. And if you're not in chat, you're going to miss out. That's what we do. If you're shy, there's friendly people here. Don't worry about it. I think most of us who are watching right now are probably in the chat anyway. But anyway, that's fine. Now this is the pre-show. If you're wondering why nothing's really happening, it's because the actual real show doesn't start until for about another 5 minutes. So if you want to sit down and relax for the next hour, grab yourself a drink. If it's early in the morning, grab yourself, a coffee or something. If it's in the afternoon, grab yourself a beer, maybe. I don't know. If you even allowed out your front door yet. That's kind of weird, isn't it? Oh dear. Are you allowed outside your house, Darren? I'm pretty sure you are, aren't you?
Yes, to a degree, I suppose. They're telling you they don't particularly want you to, if you can help it, unless you're for work and stuff.
You're doing social separation?
Pretty much. All the clubs, pubs, and gyms, and anything else like that, anything where anyone was going to congregate is closed down.
Anything indoor in Australia that has more than 100 people has been banned, basically. Anything outdoors with more than 500 people has been banned. But I reckon that will shrink even more in the next couple of weeks. They just keep letting idiots in to Australia, like tourists. With the virus, like, stop letting people in. We wouldn't have had this virus here. This is an island, this country. It's a massive island. And we wouldn't have had it at all if we didn't let idiots in with it. I just think they just didn't plan ahead properly. They didn't listen to the warnings. We've still got schools open. Yeah.
No.
I don't know if you guys have got schools open, but we've still got schools open.
No. All schools are closed.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's days or weeks away for us. Our politicians
and even the government's pledging all workers to be paid 80% of the wages. That's how bad it is over here now. It's pretty bad.
You know what's cool though? We can still do this. Nothing changes. We can just do this. I mean, we've got to be able to afford to do it somehow. But if we've got money coming in somehow, we can still do this. I mean, we can't do it forever. But...
Yeah, I was going to say, as long as you can afford to pay for the electricity and everything.
Beautiful.
Because no one's getting income over here if especially if you're self-employed.
Yeah, well, if you're self-employed, I don't know what your country's doing, but our government's offering little sort of handout payments for small businesses. So they're not terribly generous, and I think they'll stagger them. They'll probably do one now and maybe a month or two's time. But I mean, geez, the money that they're offering, you'd be lucky if it paid your wages for a week. It's just pathetic. So anyway, we won't get into that because that's negative, and we'll just pretend nothing's happening. We'll pretend everything's okay. I hope nobody here has actually got the virus. If you do, I wish you the best in recovery. From what I've been told, most people tend to recover from it. So unless you're pretty sick or old or already have other sort of issues with asthma and things, I think if you've got asthma, you'd be wanting to isolate yourself pretty badly right now.
Yeah, it's probably not a good thing for me then.
Yeah, you need to stay away from people, mate, if you've got asthma. But yeah. Anyway, Tom's just jumped in. How you going, Tom? Did anyone else jump in? No. Cool. Yeah, on the stream, I'm going to talk about how this show gets advertised, because it actually doesn't. So it's pretty much word of mouth, this show. Anyway, I reckon we'll start the stream. Let's do this for about 30 seconds or so. Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. This is another Saturday, and if you've arrived here and this is your first time, a big warm welcome to you, and also a massive warm welcome to everybody that comes here every week and puts up with me, and that usually is a bunch of people just sitting next to me here who are in the chat. Now if you are new and you haven't jumped into the chat yet, I do recommend you jump in there because it's actually pretty cool. We do talk to the chatties on this show, and that's why it's live. But without any further ado, I just want to say good day to Darren, who's jumped on. Hello, Darren. How are you? How's your week been?
Well, okay, I suppose, as things are going. So we won't go into all that because we want to be a more light-hearted show. But yeah, things are fine.
And obviously, you guys are all fine in your house there. No one's been affected or anything. You're all healthy.
As yet, yes, no one's affected, and things are okay health-wise.
Well, that's good news. That's awesome. Beautiful. Okay, now in terms of who's actually on this week, at one stage I was actually worried about how many windows I'd be able to have open, and then we've had a whole bunch of people pull out at last minute. So there may be an inky below. I'll see what happens with that, but I'll just leave that there for now. If not, that's fine. That's just you and me, Darren. Not sure where Chob is. He didn't say whether he was coming or not, and there was a couple of other people that have pulled out last minute. But anyway, that's fine. We can handle this. Now, this week, the topic is going to be online collaboration, which I think is probably a good topic to talk about, because if we're all sort of stuck in social or home isolation, wherever you are in the world, depending on the situation you're in, some people are more isolated than others. Some people are in full lockdown and others are a little bit more free, like we are. We can still go to the shops and stuff here. It's a little bit more free in Australia, but I'm sure that it'll get worse where we are, and it'll get easier probably in some other parts of the world as we're getting colder here and you guys are getting warmer. That it all depends, I think. But anyway, the whole point is that we're going to talk about online collaboration. Now, I am going to make a massive big disclaimer here. I have about as much knowledge in online collaboration as someone who's a noob and is just starting out to investigate it. And maybe this actually might be a good thing, because I've approached it as a newbie and I've only just started looking into it the last couple of days, talking to a few people, browsing websites, reading articles and things like that. So I'm going to share what I've come across, and I'm not professing to be knowledgeable about this. This is just literally what I've discovered, and hopefully this might help someone. I don't know. If it doesn't, then I apologize. But there are people probably around who have done this a little bit more. Now, what I plan to do with this is actually do a part 2. And the reason why I want to do a part 2 is because when I actually launched this topic, I thought we were going to have some other people on the show with they're not here available. I haven't actually had a chance myself personally to do online collaboration with anyone yet. It's only just been a few days. So by the time we do part 2, I'll have that and I'll be able to record some video with that. Got a few ideas up my sleeve, and I don't know, maybe someone here on the show, on the live chat, might want to do it with me. Doesn't really faze me. So anyway, we'll keep going on. But before we get into this topic, we do a couple of regular segments, and the first one we do is a segment called The Funny Side. And yes, stranger things do happen here, and I do say that this is actually probably where you've reached the end of the internet. I do find some really strange pictures over the weeks when I do this show. I like this one, Le Midi. It's a bar I'm sure it's in France, judging by the fact that it's got the French flags everywhere and there's a Citroen driving past. But what I did like about it was it's Le Midi, and it did say bar next to it. So, if anyone is wondering about whether you can have beer and play with your synths and do MIDI at the same time, well, this place looks like the place to go. That's what I reckon. Anyway, so we'll start off with that one. Now, because we are talking about sort of online collaboration this week, I'm sure you guys have seen these memes come out. What am I going to do locked down at home for weeks? Who can live like that? And producers are like, yeah, that's me. So I think we can all relate to that. And on the same sort of topic, there was no pasta or toilet paper, but fortunately the music shop was still open. That one I think we can all relate to. Dear. Actually, our local music shop down the road here is closed. But anyway, that's another story. So there you go. Funny side for the week. Darren, put you on the spot. What did you think of those?
It's the last one, definitely.
Yeah. Is that you? Would you go to the music shop, walk out with stuff?
Probably, yeah. Yeah. What past that, it wasn't available, so I got this instead.
It's the toilet paper thing's bizarre, isn't it? I think we mentioned it last week. I just can't get over that. It's crazy. I mean, of all things, toilet paper.
Oh yeah.
All right, we do have.
It's gone bananas.
It's gone bananas. We do have a heap of news this week, and roll the stinger. Now, I'll just let you know, I have forgotten to say hi to the chatties, but I'll get into that just after the news. There's a fair bit to get through, so stick around. Now, this is really probably, I'm going to call this Crazy Eurorack Week. There we go. It's kind of a bit of a theme of Eurorack this week with the news. Anyway, we'll start off with the first one, and that is this cool looking thing here, and it's called a synther, or a synth R3 if you want to get the words and the letters right. I think it's called a synther anyway. Now this is by a guy called Remy Wasselin, or Wasselin. He's from Francais, and this is a modular analog synth, and it's 3-voice paraphonic, and the oscillators it's analog as well, I mentioned. So it does triangle, reverse sawtooth, square waveforms, and the first two have dedicated inputs for FM and pulse width. And you can do that via LFO. I think there's 2 LFOs on there, envelope, aftertouch, or you can cross-mod it with the oscillator, the second oscillator, and you can also use sample and hold. The third oscillator includes FM. So 3 oscillators can be obviously played as monophonic as well. Now this is the thing that I find interesting. When you buy this, you can actually tell them when they make it what filters you want. And you get to choose between an ARP 4072, an SEM, a Moog, a Steiner, a CEM 3320, and an SI 2044. That's a massive choice, and so you will have to choose which ones you want. but you can have 2 installed, I believe, in it. Now, I reckon it'd be nice if you'd have all of those installed. That'd be awesome. Anyway, it's priced at 1,800 euros. It is actually a modular, so you can, it's the modular format, so you can put this in a modular rig as well. It does come with the, what am I doing? It does come with the case as well, and it's available by custom order. The details for that will be in the description below after the video is replayed on YouTube. Okay, moving right along. Let's just get a... Darren, does that interest you at all, mate, that one? The Synther?
I think it looks quite nice. I like the case it's in as well. Do you say that they do it in a modular form?
It's actually modular, and that case is obviously, if you don't have a modular case, it just comes with it. So you can unbolt it from the case.
Well, isn't it too wide then for one rack? For one unit?
Not your rack, it's modular. So it's the modular format, yeah.
Yeah. So I was miles away then. I was on the wrong path.
That's fine, no worries. No worries. Let's go on to the next one. This one is Eurorack though, so you'll like this one. This one's called The Dust of Time, and it's by a company called Neutron Sound. And let's just zoom into this a little bit. This one looks really cool. I love things that have got little displays on it. You can see the waveforms. I think that looks awesome. Okay, so what this is a multi-engine stereo oscillator. So we'll call it DOT for short, or Dust of Time, DOT. It features 2 main oscillator pairs, obviously one for the left channel and one for the right channel. And you can have them individually calculated, or you can globally tune them also, so you can pair them. They each feature different modes and sub-modes, each with 2 parameters, classic, virtual, analog. So it's digital oscillators here, by the way. FM, wavetable, vocal synthesis. It does seem to be some similarities here with the algorithms from Mutable Instruments Braids. So I'm not sure if they've borrowed it from that. Don't forget, Mutable Instruments is open source, so that's very, very highly likely. Anyway, so the algorithms you've got for the oscillators are basic XTENS or X10s, orgone, harmonic, FM, ring, VOC-SIM or vocoder simulation, and WE-edit. Nothing in terms of price or availability just yet, but there will be where am I going? There will be some information on the description below to link to Neutron Sound. If you do go to the Neutron Sound website, you'll find there's nothing on there about it at the moment. I just had to look 5-10 minutes before the stream. What about that one, Darren? Does that one interest you? A stereo oscillator.
That one does. I even like the look of it. The thing, I think about modular, isn't it? It's like if you fall in love with a synth, you can buy the synth, but that never changes. Where your modular system, things like this always come out, and it's like you're just on a constant hunt for things that you like and to put into your system. Whereas once you've got your synth, you're sort of stuck with that synth, aren't you?
Yeah, you just pop it in, and if you need to take something out, you can just take that out. I reckon that's awesome. It's a really good point. All right, there's more. I said it was Eurorack crazy this week. So there's this one, and this is by Chronolog Instruments, and this is called the Factory. You can just see it kind of in amongst all the other stuff there. It's a Canadian-based company. They're fairly new to Eurorack, and it's an analog multi-function module. I like this because it's analog and it's multi-function. And what it does is it has it's a 5-channel audio mixer. You can see the 5 inputs across the top. But it includes a noise generator, a variable filter, an envelope function generator as well, and it can replace 4 traditional modules. So this is kind of like a space saving module, if you like, because you've got noise, mixer, filter, and envelope or LFO all mixed into the one. So to me, it reduces clutter for patching as well. So you do sort of get most of the CV inputs and outputs there. It may be, if you haven't got a mixer already in your Eurorack, this might be a really good way to get yourself into one, because it does offer those other features as well. So what do you think of that one, Darren? The Chronolog Factory.
Basically, you can show me any module.
You're gonna like
It's It's going to interest me, yeah.
Yeah. So that one, I don't know the price. They haven't set it on their website. Once again, a lot of this stuff is a bit like that, so I do apologise if that upsets anyone. But that's just how we roll here. We like to upset. Okay, the next one. Okay, All Right Devices have made this one. It's by... they make a few modules, these guys. This one's called the Triple Z or Zorb, if you want to call it that. It's a multi-mode filter. And it has 5 different filter types, each with their own output, which I like. So that is the cool thing about this. You've got CV control with all individual outputs for each of the filter types. So you've got high pass, band pass, notch, 2-pole low pass, 4-pole low pass, and it provides CV inputs in attenuators, which is important to say, not attenuators, attenuators, for controlling the VCA level, the filter resonance, and the filter frequency. It also has filter pitch CV input with unipolar attenuators. The filter tracks 1 volt per octave, which is actually really, really cool. And that enables, the thing I like about it, you've got this sort of fast modulation thing where you can normalize between the VCA CV and the VCF CV input. But you can also break that by, using the inputs for the CV patch points as well. This one I do have a price. This one's $230. It's a 10 HP module, and I think that's quite affordable. What do you think about that one without the obvious answer? Multi-mode filter.
Well, definitely, because I'm lacking. That's one thing I'm lacking in my system is filter modules. I've got 1, 2 maybe. But yeah, I'm really lacking filters. So, yeah, and it's colourful as well.
Yeah, and $230 is decent, I think. Now,
yeah,
it's probably most filters I find they're probably around the $300 mark. So it's probably just a bit under. So that's what makes it a little bit more attractive. Anyway, you can get that now, I believe. So All Right Devices, that's who does that one. Okay, now this is breaking off from the Eurorack side of things. This is not really in any official news, but do you want to hear about this? Akai have been busy putting information up on their what do you call it? When they're trying to apply for getting a license to have a product which has got a wireless antenna or something like that. Forget the name of it, but FCC, that's it. So yes, this is the MPC Live 2, and you can see on there it's got the little symbol 2, and notice it's got little sort of wrist or armrest on the bottom there, and it's also got a built-in speaker, I believe. And a couple of other things to notice on this is the 4 CV outputs on the top, or the back render up the top. We'll see them, the 4 little circles just above the MIDI ports. You'll see them there. So that's kind of like, I had a bit of a chat online with a few people about this. It's kind of like merging what the MPC 1 has got and giving it to the MPC Live, because everyone was crying that the MPC Live didn't have CVs. And I guess this is probably going to be a hardware refresh. I don't know if this is official yet, if this is just a troll on the internet. I doubt it very much, because it's a lot of engineering information that's been submitted. So if you're going to troll, they've gone to a lot of trouble. I think this is probably going to happen. The information that I can work out is it looks like it might be sort of late August 2020. Inky's popped in too. It's good to see. Inky might actually want to say hi and make a little comment about this. Inky, welcome. We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Take a drink.
There
I
we
muted
go.
myself. Sorry I'm late. Made
That's
it just
all
in
right.
time. It's kind of a good idea because it's got the CV, hasn't it?
Yeah, and the wrist, the wrist rest, the palm rest.
I'm not sold on the armrest. That should be a step sequencer, and I'm not sold on the speaker.
Yeah.
But the rest, if the bottom was a step sequencer, because I know you can use the pads, but it's vertical rather than horizontal.
Yeah.
And the tries and things like, everything else is left to right. So it'd be great if they put a little one on there. That's someone else's idea, by the way, not mine.
Yeah, it was a good idea.
But the speaker I'm not sold on. Why do you need a speaker on it? I mean, I suppose it's truly portable. But if,
Don't you just put some headphones?
use
Yeah.
headphones.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you're in a cafe, you're going to annoy people. If you're in a park, you probably won't be able to hear it. So I don't get it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, look, it's
But, yeah.
interesting. It's interesting news anyway, isn't it? So, I think, people like myself who own an MPC Live, I'm not going to be selling my MPC Live just to get a couple of CV outputs. I think I don't think it's really marketed at anyone who's existing owners. From what we can tell, and what we've been sort of rumored to hear is apparently the hardware inside is going to be exactly the same. So it's not going to have a new CPU or more RAM or bigger anything. Apparently it's going to be exactly the same. They've just put some more connectivity on it. So in that point, it's probably not going to annoy existing owners at all. I think it's a bit like what Electron have done with hardware refreshes. Okay, next one. There is one more news article. What's an article? I actually don't have a graphic for this, but I do have a website that I'll show you. Where'd it go?
What happened there?
I'm still here.
You know me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I don't know what happened there, just vanished.
Yeah, we're still streaming. Everything's fine. Do not panic. Don't go anywhere. Okay, so here we go. If you are interested in some free stuff, cherryaudio.com/free. And then you can get yourself voltage modular nucleus. All you have to do is just chuck your email address in there and they'll send you a link and you can get it. So I think that's pretty cool. So kind of newsy, but I think it's probably more important just to sort of let people know about it. If you didn't know, hopefully I've just helped you out. What do you think of that sort of stuff? Darren, have you seen that Cherry Audio offer? All right, Darren's frozen. I think we've lost Darren. Inky, you're still here, aren't you?
I'm here.
Yep, beautiful. Okay, so I think Darren's internet's got a coronavirus. We'll see if we can get him back. All right. We got Ken. Ken's just appeared. All right, just give me a sec. Let me get Ken in. Just to confuse everyone. I didn't think Ken was going to be here.
I'm not going because Ken's here now because Ken was supposed to be here.
No, that's all right.
And
You
I
stay
wasn't.
where you are. You stay where you are. You're good.
And I had to get. That's why I was late because I was in PJs. Everyone.
Yeah, you're okay. No one's going to worry about it. All right, where's Ken? There's Ken. And let's just change.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, yeah. Let's just change your...
Hey,
Oh, cool,
hi, Ken.
cool.
No,
I'll
that's
turn this
Inky.
stuff down so I'm not.
That's Darren.
Hopefully you don't get any
Maybe.
feedback from me or anything. If you do, just let me know.
All right, I've just got to find your little title now. Hey, there we go. Look at that. Beautiful. Let's
I'm still learning this little software thing here. I want to say something real quick about what Inky said.
Yeah, go.
So Inky had mentioned, because I pulled it up on my phone as I was logging in, and I heard her talk about the MPC and how she felt like that should be a step sequencer. I kind of disagree about that. So the MPC, it has, the grid editor and everything in it, but I feel like if you had just a straight step sequencer, like say like the Rhythm has on it, I feel like that kind of takes away a little bit from how the MPC is programmed, and how it kind of how you interact with it. Now, Inky might disagree with me, and that's fine. Like, that's one of the great things about the MPC is that, like, pretty much everybody that I've ever known that uses an MPC has their own workflow on it. But one of the things that I've always liked about the MPC is that it doesn't feel like a step sequencer. It feels like you're programming like in real time, more or less, and that may differ from genre to genre, but for me and my friends that produce hip hop, We tend to just really like the more real time aspects of it, and I don't know. I agree that I don't really feel like the wrist rest is necessary at all on it. And I wonder if it's going to change the size of the pads at all and make them smaller like it is on the MPC One to make room for that wrist rest, or if it's all just going to be enlarged. But I'll say this much: I put my MPC Live up on Reverb, and my thinking is I'm not so much worried about it losing value or anything like that. The fact that it has the CV on it is somewhat interesting to me. The CV that's currently present in the MPC software is not very well fleshed out. There's a lot of missing aspects to it that should be there that are not there. But I have a feeling if they're continuing support in new devices with that CV on there, it's there on the Force and it's there now on the Live MK2. That tells me that they're going to continue developing the CV stuff. And obviously I have CV relatable gear. So while the current CV doesn't matter to me very much because I have MIDI to CV devices, if they start opening things up, in the MPC software and allowing for more things with CV, then it could get really interesting. So on that level, I want it. And on the level of the built-in speaker, I'm a sucker for sitting on the couch and working on things on the couch. So I like the idea that it has a speaker. Even it doesn't have to be great. It doesn't have to be. It's also not really a selling point because I have Bluetooth speakers and whatnot. I would rather. I like the idea of it just being able to stream to Bluetooth like that. But when you do that, you get latency. And there's kind of no real way around that. So it's not a huge selling point, but I like the fact that there's a speaker in there if they have it. If it keeps the same price point, like if it doesn't cause it to increase in price point. But what I'm doing is I'm actually going to sell my Live. I don't think that this Live MK2 is going to be out too quickly. I think it'll come out probably summertime or something like that if I had to guess. But I'm going to get a Force in the meantime because I'm just interested in that workflow. It's just a different workflow. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to sell my Live, get a Force, and then I'll save up towards the MK2 and see how I feel about it.
Right. Yeah. So a couple of things out of that. I believe it's around August, according to the documentation that I read. There was a lot of technical engineering type documentation that they uploaded to the FCC and various places, and it looks like there's a whole bunch of information that they have to have ready by August. So this August date does seem to be some sort of maybe a launch date, or maybe it's their, when they can go public with it. I don't know. So sort of keep your eye out around then. Yeah. Now, someone asked, I think it was Andrew, asked about is 4 ports for CV enough? Now, from what I remember, they're stereo ports, so they're TRS ports, which means each port will have 2 CV connectivities to it. So that means you actually technically have 8 CV channels. So to me, it's similar to what the Octatrack does. So to me, well, what's the other thing? The Analog 4 does it as well.
I actually saw someone moaning about that.
Yeah.
On the MPC One, they moaned because they had to buy new jacks. It was a YouTuber, a well-known YouTuber actually,
right?
Moaning that they had to split jacks, and I was thinking, well, if you've got that much Eurorack, you can get little splitters for pennies, can't you?
I don't know why they're moaning.
Really? I know. Oh, and Ken, the only reason I want a step sequencer is to put the kick drum in, because it does my head in going up and then a bar over and going up and going up. I just think it'd be quicker because I use a kick drum as my metronome. That's the only reason. I think it'd be good rather than the hand refs. But it doesn't need it, does it?
You can use the step sequencer.
Nice. When I see
Inky, do you use your grid view?
The grid view, yeah.
Say that. No,
So do you use the grid view?
I use a step sequencer or via the pads.
Yeah. There's a grid,
and then
there's
I'm
a
called
grid
live.
view. There's a grid view on the screen that you can do step sequencing on. Ken will show it.
Yeah,
in a
no,
sec.
I do it. Yeah, I do it. But you can also use the pads rather than touching the screen.
Yeah.
You just touch the pads and they
we
go
know
up,
what-
and it's
yeah,
faster.
We know what you mean. Sorry, Darren actually had a comment. I just want to grab his comment.
Yeah, well, a couple of things actually. I think Ken was kicking me out. That's why I kept going. The armrest or wrist pad, whatever. At first, I thought it was a ribbon strip at first, which would be quite cool. But I did say when there was when the MPC Live started to disappear off shelves while they were trying to flog the Force, I said, "Are they going to make a MPC Live too?" So I knew it was coming. That's why I didn't get one.
Yeah, that's your own internal justification, right?
That's me. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Ken, you were going to show something? Or you're not going to show it now?
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna say, like, it's just nice on this thing. Hold on, I gotta pull my view back up. It's just nice. I think that for me and the way that I use it, I got a lot of glare, but for me, the way that I use it, the grid view, I use that as, doing step sequencing in that way, and with the screen, I just find it to be good. So I don't feel the urge to have like dedicated buttons for that kind of stuff, but I can understand people who would, that are making a different style of music. Nothing has been set in stone, like nothing's been officially announced as far as the MPC Live MK2. I've heard things about it for a while now, but nothing's been set in stone, so I'm just kind of like, I do. From everything that I can tell, it seems like it's all the same processor, same memory, same everything. It's just a slight tweak to it, which MPCs have been known to do. Going all the way back to the very first MPC, the MPC 60 had the MPC 62, which really just changed the casing and added a headphone port, and that was pretty much it. And then you had the 2000 and 2000 XL. So this isn't necessarily like a new paradigm for Akai to do that sort of thing. I hope that wrist rest doesn't add much dimensional wise. Like, I didn't look at the dimensions on it and measure it out. Like, I've been too busy on other things, but I hope it doesn't really add too much dimensional wise to this thing, because it's already, in my opinion, slightly too big for what it is.
It definitely looks deeper.
Yeah.
To me, it looks deeper.
Yeah, it does. And there looks to be, it looks like there's about 4 extra buttons on it as well.
I'll bring it back up again.
Yeah, so if you look up by the bank buttons, there's 4 extra buttons there now. It looks like where the redo, delete, and all that stuff is.
Yeah.
Copy is a new button. It looks like it has a I don't know. Look, it's weird, but anyway, like the shape of this thing makes it so that it really doesn't fit in laptop bags very well, which is a shame, because it's super close to fitting into most of my bags, and then doesn't. And the One kind of does. Like, I like the form factor of the One more. I was hoping that the Live MK2 would be more akin to the One's form factor, maybe slightly larger with full-size pads, but I was hoping it would be more like that, to be honest with you.
I think Andrew was asking if the USB ports are the same. I think the USB ports on the back were the same. The only thing that I can see that's different on the back is just the CV. That's all I can see that's different on the back. The render of that image that we've got is not very high res. I'm still trying to find a more high res version.
Yeah, it's really low res.
Yeah.
And as far as speaking to somebody with a lot of Eurorack, like the whole splitting jacks thing, that's absurd. Like, to be poo-pooing it for that is absurd. And that's also nothing new. Like, that's what I think it was the Analog 4 was doing that stuff too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I won't mention who it is, but she's a very famous YouTuber at the moment. But that was one of her negativity thing about the I was like, well, if that's your biggest gripe, then get out of here, because if you you're talking out pennies.
If that's the same person that's bought an MPC, sold it, and then bought another one and sold it. If that's the same person that we're talking about, then don't worry about. They will always just whinge about MPC.
I'm no comment.
Yeah.
Because
let's move on. Because we probably should, because we've got to get through the topic of today. Now, Chob was supposed to come on and talk about this, but let's just quickly do it anyway. There's a couple of the eBay sort of scammy things that I came across. But the first one I came across was from Chob. Inverted Popes is in the chat room. He can talk about it in the chat room, but here it is here. He was apparently searching for the price of his desk. He's got a Z250 workstation, and he was trying to find out how much they're worth so he could sell it. And this one came across his $1,000 US, and I think they're only worth about 250. So he thought it was a bit scammy. So he can tell you guys in chat a bit more about the story there with that one. So yeah, I was actually thinking when I was doing this segment this week that we're probably going to not find very many scammy prices anymore. I think a lot of people are going to be trying to sell off some of their gear so they can eat, unless they're just going to eat ramen or something for the next couple of months. But here's another one I found. The Roland TB303. This is an Australian dollar, so what's that? It's probably about 7,000 US. I still think that's way too much money for a TB303. Sorry. That's just crazy. I mean, it's just crazy for people paying that sort of money for that. If you're paying that sort of money, you're just a collector, and really you shouldn't be. So there's that one. And the last one that came across I thought was quite weird, was you can actually get an OBX8 voice. Now, 27,000 Australian dollars. Now, I'm going to have to use a calculator here. We'll just do it a point. So that's 19,000 US dollars, right? I still think that's a bit overpriced. It might even be scammy. But what does it mean? Improved and future-proofed. What does that mean? Does that mean he's a dealer that's improved and future-proofed, or does that mean this OBX8 is improved and future-proofed? I think he's thinking...
Is it solar powered? Is it solar powered?
I don't know.
And he's got a speaker in it.
I actually think $2,800 postage as well on top of that. So you're hitting into the 30 grand Australian dollars territory there with the postage. But I think he's talking about he's had it serviced, and that's what he means by future-proof. Now, I don't care what anyone says. You can service a synth, and then 3-4 months later it can break again. Just ask David Spears. You guys know who he is. He's serviced synths and they've broken straight away afterwards. So, no such thing as what's the word? Future-proofing a synth. Anyway, that's the eBay scams for the week. I honestly believe that there won't be any in the next few months, because I think everyone will be starting to panic that they probably don't have their income from their gigs anymore. It's actually really sad. I'm reading it on social media all the time. There's people saying we don't have our weekend gigs. What are we going to earn? We don't have any money. And I think it's very, very sad what's happening. And, they'll probably have to start thinking of getting money some other way or selling their gear. And you'll start to see probably some sort of panic sale sort of phenomena happen. And it'd just be really, really sad to see that people will have to part with gear purely to survive. But anyway, it's there, isn't it? It's something that we're going to experience, I guess. Any thoughts from you guys about that one?
I know people have had to cancel gigs, and in England, you're not going to get any support for that if you're kind of self-employed in that way.
Yeah.
Unless you're an official business kind of thing. So.
Yeah. I think we should really be feeling, sort of solidarity in the music industry right now, right?
Yeah. I think we're quite lucky, actually, that we are musicians, so that if we are stuck indoors, we've got something to do. There's a lot of people that haven't even really got a proper hobby. They work is their life, and now they've got nothing. So,
Well,
at least we've got toys to play with.
There's a lot of kids at home at the moment, and a lot of those kids probably play musical instruments, and there's nothing stopping you from doing a Skype call and doing some tutoring. You know, there's ways to make money. There is. You just got to think a little bit more outside the square. Anyway, but yeah, let's move on to the main segment of the show. Now, as I mentioned before, and Ken, you and Inky probably didn't hear this, I am a very, very wet behind the ears noob when it comes to online collaboration. So I don't want to come across like I know what I'm talking about. But yeah, where can we start with? There's a lot. So the first one, I guess, I probably want to sort of deal with was the one that got recommended to me the most, and that was Reaper and this thing called Ninjam. And so, you know, when I was talking to people, they were all going, "Oh, you should get Reaper and get Ninjam." Okay, I don't use Reaper. I know what Reaper is, and just while we're talking about Reaper, if you actually are looking for a pretty decent DAW, they've got a thing at the moment where you can have it for free. I think they're giving like a free license for it. It does expire, but I think it's
it doesn't. No, you just use Reaper, and it just carries on asking you politely to pay forever.
Yeah.
You can have it on for 10 years, but it's so cheap. If you like it, you should pay for it.
Yeah.
I think it's like 80 quid, something like that.
I don't know much about Reaper because I've got it installed on my Mac, but I don't use it. So when it comes to doing Ninjam and Reaper, so what I thought I'd do is just show, where are we? So just here, this is how you can get Reaper for free. And if you see at the top here, you can see you can download a temporary license. This is what I was going to show you guys. That's what they're offering. It's actually part of the COVID-19 thing that what are they called? Kukus or something. The company that owns Reaper, Kukus or something. But anyway, these guys actually do own the Ninjam thing as well, which is a GitHub project. So if you actually are a Reaper user, you can actually use this thing called Ninjam. Now, while we've got that open, I just want to quickly grab the Ninjam.
I was under the impression that Reaper was donationware, basically, or there's like a $60 license, and then otherwise you're just hit with like an advert prompt each time you open it, something to that effect. I haven't used Reaper in ages, but that's how I remember it being.
Well, just remember that
it's free, really.
If you do have Reaper and you're looking at online collaboration because you're stuck at home, you can built into Reaper is this thing called Ninjam, and all you need to do is just find a public server. There's people that have got public servers already, and this is kind of what it looks like. You don't need to worry about this side of it. This is kind of the technical side, but if you do want to host or run your own server, you can do that as well. You might need to know a little bit about compiling software and things like that, but you can get the source code from GitHub. So there you go, that's Ninjam. Now, that's as far as I got with Ninjam. So maybe someone in the chat who's used it could recommend it or not recommend it. So if anyone's had experience with Ninjam, let us know in the chat. Like I said, this is kind of a whole bunch of people that have recommended stuff to me that I've spoken to over the last 3 or 4 days. So I'm going to keep going. There's another one that's called Ohm Force or Ohm Studio. It's been around for a while. So that's what this looks like. So you can download it. It's free to download. Now, one thing is that when you do download this, they do recommend that you use UVI Workstation. And there's actually about a gigabyte worth of sample sort of instruments and stuff in there too, which is pretty cool. It's all for free. So what it does is that they're claiming that it offers real-time collaboration as a digital audio workstation. You can start a project, invite musicians to make music together, and it has this thing called a community, which is a play on words. It's with the ohm sort of, there, bad joke. But you've got this thing called Ohm Studio, which you can download and install. It's all for free. Now, I did install it, so we can actually have a little bit of a look at it. There it is there. I'll just quickly bring it over. So this is what the interface looks like on a Mac. This has literally only just been installed today, so I actually haven't, it's still in sort of tutorial mode, but that's not a bad looking interface. Look, it's a proper DAW, and you've got inserts and tracks. It does record MIDI and audio, and you can actually edit MIDI notes and edit patterns. There's a mixer down the bottom. And the collaboration thing is basically up here where you invite people. So you just click on invite, and you can send an email to a friend, and it will send them a link to that project. Now the projects are all kind of handled over on the own website. It's done online, so you have to have an active internet connection obviously to do this. That's why it's called online collaboration, of course. But that seems to be something that a lot of people seem to think is fairly decent. The information that I've got with this though is that people have said to me the MIDI side of it is lacking. So I don't know how much MIDI you want to be doing online collabing. It really just depends on your situation. I mean, I would have thought online collaboration is more to do with, even if it's kind of like a live thing, you're jamming live where you've got audio coming from you and someone else has got audio coming from them. I don't think Home Studio is that. I think it's more that you're sort of pasting in tracks. That's kind of the way I feel that works. I don't know if I've got that wrong or right, but anyway, it is free, but there's also there's a paid thing where you can have, you know, more features. It's €99 for that, and if you want to find out what those features are, just jump on their website. Anyone, let me just keep an eye on chat, because if there was any sort of comments about Home Studio. Home Studio is on Steam, apparently. Is Steam the gaming platform? Is that what they mean? Or is that something else? Anyone say anything about...
Does that mean you can use it live? Does that mean it is kind of live?
It says
If it's on...
it says real-time collaborative. I don't think they use the word live in this. Now, there are some things that claim that they're live, and I'm still really, really trepid about any of those claims, because I haven't, from what I've worked out, I can't really find anything which is like really, really, you know, properly live. We'll get to those in a minute though. Inky, you've definitely gone down this path and done some research on this as well, so we'll definitely get your feedback on that as well. Yeah, did anyone mention anything about the first one, which was the Ninjam? I don't think they did. Someone keep an eye on the chat for me and flag stuff, and I'll definitely keep talking about that. The next one is probably the one that a lot of people know about, and that's the Pro Tools. If you've just got Pro Tools and you just want to start collaborating, now this is the one which I didn't really know much about. So you guys who have got Pro Tools may have used this. So this is called Cloud Collaboration. And it's actually, I don't actually have Pro Tools anymore. I scrapped it a few years ago. But you can literally just from the menu go File, Start Collaboration. And there are some costs with this. It was something from starting around about $4.99 US per month, or $49.99 per year for 100 gig of cloud storage, all the way up to 2 terabytes, which is $299.99 US dollars. It's quite expensive. I don't know if that's really kind of a sustainable sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, there's so many other ways to store stuff on the internet, much cheaper than that. But if there's anyone got any experience with the cloud collaboration, like can you actually, like Inky said, can you actually do like real-time live jamming and collaboration with someone, or is it more just, you know, you're mixing a track together with someone else somewhere else in the world? Because to me there seems to be two different types of collaboration out there. There seems to be that I want to work with a mixer, or I want to work with an engineer, so I need to collaborate with them online. This is the tools I've got for that. Or there's a bunch of people who want to jam and they want to do it online. So to me there seems to be two sort of separate things, and I don't know if there's something that does it all. The next one I want to talk about is BandLab. Okay, and I've got a BandLab account. I've had one for years actually. And just to show you, so this is my BandLab account. Now you can actually just click on one of your projects and invite collaborators here. And now from what I've been told, it does have a live session, and I actually haven't tried this. So what I would like to do over the next week or so is I actually want to record video of me with someone else collaborating. I want to purposely do this like right across the world, or right across, you know, the other side of the country, or something where there's someone's a long way away. And I want to try this BandLab. It's all done through the browser or through the app. And I actually want to give that a go, because they are claiming on their website that it's live collaboration. Now, it has a live session, and so what does that mean? Does that mean if I want to play the guitar, someone can play the drums? You know what I mean? Like, is it really live? Inky, did you have any dealings with BandLab when you were doing your research?
I didn't actually try it out because I think we discussed a lot about it, didn't we? We couldn't find anything that actually read the latency in real time. So it was consistently looking at the latency between the two people collaborating and adjusting it, but there's nothing that fast out there that will do it, and that's the problem I found.
Yeah,
that's the problem I came up against, that I couldn't find. There'd always be latency.
Right. Okay. So
if anyone tried it out,
what you're sort of saying is, if I was to sort of do a 4 on the floor drum machine beat, there'd be some sort of syncing issue, you know, between you and the person at the other end. Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't we think that even human compensation was better than some of these programs?
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, Ken, did you want to say something?
Hey, is there a way for me to share my screen or no?
Don't know.
Okay. So anyway, I'll just tell you what I'm looking at. You can go to new.steinberg.net/Cubase/features. So if basically look up Steinberg, Cubase, and then look up the features of Cubase. It has two aspects about it. And I'll be honest with you, I'm like just learning Cubase for work. Mm-hmm. I haven't used Cubase since like early 2000s. But anyway, Cubase, it's becoming extremely apparent to me as I'm starting to learn it again that they've just been getting like feature requests after feature requests for decades and just implementing them. And it can do pretty much everything and anything. So it has these two different modes in there. One is called VST Connect SE4, mm-hmm. and the other is VST Transit. And Connect actually lets you voice chat or video chat inside your DAW. It says, I'll read it to you. VST Connect is a complete remote recording solution that lets you collaborate with any musician with an internet connection and a computer anywhere on the planet. Data encryption, multi-track recording, live video chat, audio stream protection, and MIDI support make geographical distance irrelevant to studio workflows. And then their VST Transit is a cloud collaboration service which offers you the possibility to connect with musicians and producers worldwide, no matter where they are and what DAW they use. So this is functionality that's built right into Cubase Pro. I don't know if it's in the other versions, but I'm looking at the Pro version. I haven't tried this stuff, and I'm pretty sure that what's the other one? Studio One. I think Studio One does some somewhat similar stuff as well.
Yep.
I am a big fan of not collaborating until I have to.
Yeah.
I love getting musical inspiration from my friends and whatnot, but when I'm like actually working on something, I don't want people changing things around that much. Now, it's certainly cool to experiment in these ways, though, and I could see the usefulness of it, and I could see as internet gets better and better that could be a very real possibility. But for me personally, like this whole like COVID-19 stay inside, social distancing thing, I love it. I'm just like, I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to do like just give me an excuse to not be seen and just play in my studio.
I think that what you mentioned about Cubase though, I think they've been around since like the Atari. Do you know what I mean? Like they've been around since almost the dawn of PC computers, and they were obviously bought out by Yamaha and all that sort of stuff, but they've still kept their software going, haven't they? So I just think Ableton really should be looking at if Pro Tools have got something, if Cubase have got something, if Studio One from Presonus have got something, Ableton are really probably behind the eight. Well, I don't know. Someone could correct me if I'm wrong here, but I couldn't see anything in Ableton. I've got Ableton 10 Suite edition here. I couldn't see anything in there. I didn't really sort of research that side. But just while we've got it, I thought I would show you guys that I've got Studio One that's loading right now. So give it a sec, it'll finish. And we can go check that out and see what's in Studio One. Now, in terms of Cubase, I personally never liked it. It doesn't mean that it's bad, because I don't like it. It's just my personal opinion. When Cubase was first out, I used to use Cakewalk. Quite early in the piece for me, I much preferred the user interface of Cakewalk, and I went down that path for many, many years. And even today you can still use Cakewalk. It's free. It kind of died for a bit and it's back. So yeah, Darren's showing his Cubase. So yeah, I have had Cubase.
Very early one.
I have had it. I have installed it. But it's just personal preference, I think. Some people say that
I will say this.
They don't like it, but yeah.
Part of the reason why I'm using it for work is it has far, far better MIDI capabilities than just about anything out. It blows just about everything out of the water MIDI wise. It can handle polyphonic aftertouch, which, as you know, for the company that I work with, is pretty important. The depth of what it can actually do, it seems to be blowing most other stuff out the water. The problem is like you said, like I'm not used to its environment. If I recall, the people who ended up creating Studio One are previously from the Cubase team, and you can tell like that there was a split as far as like where they should go, because Cubase is very much like many screens, and you can do this and you can do that, and the whole kitchen sink and then some is thrown in, whereas Studio One was like, okay, we're gonna like distill everything down into the whole point of Studio One, which is one screen. And so I'm a Studio One user. Like I love Studio One. But yeah, the MIDI implementation of Cubase is just like light years.
There's Studio One there. There's like a project I did a while ago. Now I've just noticed, just opening that, there's an update, and I'm just wondering whether the update might have added some sort of external collaboration features in it. But yeah, I actually don't really know. The only thing that I've always known that this has had, it's always had that connect to SoundCloud feature. I don't know whether that's all they're using in Studio One. I'm not sure. I need to check into that. It's like I said, this is kind of new for me, this whole subject. So maybe someone in chat could look it up and let us know. I don't know if I want to be updating Studio One during a live stream either. So what version is it that I've got? Studio One, where is it about? So that version I've got installed is 4.5. So I'm pretty sure that's up to date. Anyway, we digress. Now, keep going.
Can
Go.
Can I just ask Ken, how much is Cubase these days? Because it always was like, it's always been around from day one, really, and it's always been really professional. But it was extremely expensive even back in the day. You know, it was like
I'll tell you how much it is.
a lot of money
It's
before it even looped.
$872. I don't know if that's American or Australian. It could be Australian.
Right.
That's for the Pro
Yeah.
version. I mean, obviously they've got cheaper versions for upgrading and existing. There is you can also cross grade as well, so you can get a discount if you own Ableton or something else. So yeah, I agree. I've always thought it was pretty pricey.
Yeah, it says 587 US is what I'm seeing.
Yeah. So that must have been Australian dollars, that price.
And that's for the full Pro, like it's got everything and then some. And I think Artist, which is probably what most people would be using, is like 337.
Yeah.
That's quite cheap compared to when it first came out, when it was like $1,000 in 1990s.
Yeah.
It was like,
yeah,
it was really expensive.
That was expensive. Yeah, I remember it being really pricey at one stage. So the other thing too is that to collaborate with someone, like I said, you've got to sort of think to yourself, okay, well, do I just want to jam with someone, or am I sending stems and then they can add their, there's different forms of collaboration, and it's kind of almost we're branching. So if you're having a conversation about one, you probably shouldn't be talking about the other. I feel that there's a branch with that. So, a lot of people use Dropbox or some sort of online file sharing to collaborate, and you don't really need a DAW to do that. And that's exactly what I did with Inky last year when I shared some stuff with her, and she just put it into her MPC Force. So, do you need a paid service that costs you money, or a DAW for what is it, $500, $600 US, when you could probably just use Dropbox or something like that? But speaking along those lines, there's a list like this of ones that I didn't even get a chance to look at, and I'll just read the names and someone can mention if they've used it or not. Is Compos, with a K, K-O-M-P-O-Z. There's one called Sound Better. There's Pro Collabs, PRO Collabs. There's Vocalizer. There's Melboss, Audio. And then I have used Audio. I've talked about Audio before on the stream. I wouldn't say that's an online collab. I'll talk about that in a sec. And there's BandHub. Now, I have heard of BandHub as well, and I definitely wouldn't say that's an online collab either. So, yeah. So, like, for example, Audio, right? AUDIU. You basically, you put your song up as a project, and it could be at any sort of development position, like whether are you going to be, you're at the mixing part, or you're at the mastering part, or you're at the ideas part. Do you know what I mean? So audio is like that. Now from there you can get other people to comment on your track, and then and people just do it for free, and you can do it for free with their tracks, and it's kind of like a collaboration hub like that. The other thing that you can do with audio is you can pay for people who are in the industry to give you advice on what to do with your track, or you can actually send it off and get it mixed and professionally. So it's kind of that sort of portal. It's run by a bunch of people that run a few other things that are connected with SoundCloud. So that could be something that you're after. So where did we get to? We got to kind of the big ones, didn't we? So speaking of collaborating, where I want to go next is I actually want to try this out. I want to give this, I want you guys to sort of feel this is me being new to this. I've never done this before. So, I've got Ohm Studio installed. I've got Reaper installed. I've got Studio One installed. I've got the BandLab library. I could use that. So what should we pick? Should we pick one that would be fairly easy for people to get to? I think the BandLab one would probably be the easiest, wouldn't it? Because that's all done through the browser, and basically all you need to do is just launch a browser on your machine that you've got, you know, your stems or your files or your audio interface or whatever's on there, and then you can just start collaborating. Now, we can start a project from scratch, or we can pick one up, you know, that's ongoing. If someone's got something that's unfinished and they want to collaborate, I mean, it's up to you guys. But what I'd like to do is between this stream and the next time we revisit this topic is kind of set that wheel in motion, videoing, you know, our experience in between now and then go back onto the stream and then, you know, play all that back, show people what we've done, and then talk about it as a streaming thing. What do you guys think about that idea? We probably should get to this pretty quick.
Sorry, what's our homework? What are we doing?
Well, it's up to you. Whoever wants to volunteer, it doesn't have to be you guys. It could be someone in the chat that wants to do it. So I'm thinking maybe we should try out BandLab, because to me it's the simplest in terms, like, you don't have to put software. You don't have to go and buy Cubase or Studio One. You know what I mean? Like, it's just done through the browser or done through an app on your mobile device. So that one could be the easiest one to do. And they're claiming, I just really want to check out these claims and see just how you know, usable this is. I mean, how usable is something that's free is the question I'm going to be pushing, because it's these guys aren't making much money from this. So there has to be a point where we'll probably hit a wall and it will be like, oh, you've got to pay, you know. It'll be one of those things. I'm sure it's going to happen.
After 2 tracks.
Yeah. You only get 50 seconds of collaborating, and then after that you've got to pay us $399. But that was the thing there.
Or you can't export it.
That's it there. So I would literally just invite collaborators, and you click on that, and then you just put people's username, emails or something in there, leave a message, it sends a link. So we can do that. We can set up a blank project and do that. We can have a couple of people collaborate. I think a good idea would be to test it over a couple of people, not just 2 people. Yeah. I definitely won't be doing it on the stream. Okay, so if you guys kind of got the misinterpretation. So it'll be done in between this time and the next time we revisit the topic, and I'll record video. But when we go back and stream it again on a live stream, we'll show what we've done, and then we'll discuss it and talk about our feedback with it. And, you know, could look at that. In terms of Studio One, I could definitely look at Studio One. I mean, Ken, you've got Studio One, I've got Studio One, so we could look at maybe connecting that way. There has to be, in my mind, there has to be kind of probably two different ideas here. Like, live jamming would probably be one that a lot of people would be very keen on, and Inky, especially you'd be like interested to see how it syncs, to see if it keeps that sort of you know, the beat and all that sort of stuff for both users.
Ableton Live is kind of extremely well adopted by the community, and one of the advantages there is just that people can kind of drop clips in, and then scenes can be arranged from clips. That's an idea as well, is just as far as that sort of thing. For me, like, yeah, I might be able to see if I can't provide some sample pack stuff too. I wouldn't be opposed to that. I'm going to be creating some new samples today, actually. I'm working on some new percussion things.
Yeah. I mean, I think it might even be worth starting a project from scratch, like literally have nothing, and then working with a couple of different people at the same time on actually seeing if we can get something. It doesn't have to be like, you know, #1 record for at least for the charts, that sort of thing. It just has to be kind of, you know, working together with different people to see. To me, there's an experience there as well. It's not just about like testing the software out. There's also, you know, testing how you'd work online with someone. I think there's kind of, that needs to be sort of recorded in a way. Like, we need to record our own personal experience with it as well. I think people need to know like how it sort of works, because one of the things is you can try all this sort of stuff out, and, you know, you might end up wasting a lot of time trying a lot of things out, and there could be just a really good go-to thing that we could come up with for people. So that's kind of my aim, is to sort of, you know, breeze through a much of the noise we can, and just sort of, you know, find something that's quick and easy to go to, and then we can just say to people, hey, we tried this out, this is how here's a whole bunch of video on what we did, you can have a look at that, and this is what the end result was, and we believe it was brilliant because blah blah blah. Or it might be, we've tried all these things out and they're all crap. I don't know, it could be, or somewhere in between, probably more likely. But do you know what I mean? Like, I think it's definitely worthwhile to sort of approach this. There's people in the chat that are putting their hands up too, which is good. There was one other one that I wanted to mention. It's called Endless. And there's some people that have been talking about this. Now, they're saying it's launching in spring. Isn't it spring now over in the US? It's officially spring, isn't it? So
Not yet.
I thought it was. Anyway, so this is done on an iOS device, I believe. I don't think they're Android yet. I'm not sure. I could be wrong, but
No, they're not Android yet because I'm waiting. I'm fancying this.
Yeah.
But I'm not buying an iPhone for it, and I've joined it up. And they keep sending me emails. Why haven't you, like, you know, start? And I'm thinking, well, because I need you to get it on Android, please.
So this is kind of what I was talking about before. This is where you can kind of jam with someone else. It's like they're sort of they're saying it's live, and you're joining in or you're jamming. So that's kind of what this one is about. So that's Endless. Now I haven't clicked on the join or sign up yet on that one because I just haven't had time. There's only so many hours in the day we can research and look at stuff for people. So Chob's done something with the Endless, so he might be good to sort of pick his brain a bit. He was saying in chat that it gets messy really quickly. But yeah, I don't know. They're saying it's in beta, so, you know, I'm always wary about beta software. You know, Endless has been, from what I could work out, Endless has been around for a while. So, you know, how long is something going to be in beta? It's kind of weird. Yeah, we won't mention that. Okay, so where did we get to? What do you guys have any questions about so far? I mean, I've gone really, really quickly through a whole bunch of stuff. Is there anything really that you want me to go back and visit? You know, it's like I said, I'm not knowledgeable, so it's kind of like I'm beginner here too. You know, I admit, you know, I can't be knowledgeable about everything. We can't all be like Ken, you know. I'm just joking. Spring equinox yesterday for Northerners. There you go. There you go. So officially spring. There you go.
I dictate my seasons based on what the restaurants are offering food-wise for me. Like, that's what tells me whether or not a season is in play.
Well, right now it's lockdown season.
Nothing.
Oh, well, in my area, it's yeah, that's true. There's that, but yeah, it's once Rita's water ice comes into play, I'm like, oh, okay, it's spring. So,
Sorry,
and then, of course,
what's
when
that?
pumpkin spice lattes come out, I'm like, oh, well, I'll start socially distancing again.
Lattes, jeez. Wow. I mean, for me, it's the boutique beers. That's what I like. You get all different types of boutique beers.
Oktoberfest.
Yeah, that's
Oktoberfest beers are what do it for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm allergic to beer now, so.
Oh no. That'd suck. Yeah.
Yep, that's why I
He's
drink.
making up with whiskey, though.
Is that a gluten
You got
thing?
that right.
Is it a gluten thing?
No, I think it has to do with the yeast. Actually, the yeast and the hops. I used to brew beer, and they think it has something to do with the fact that, like, my histamines got overloaded because we used to crack our own grains, and like we would do it all from scratch. And yeah, I developed an allergy while doing that. So it's okay. Gin and whiskey seem to be holding me over just fine.
Fair enough. Yeah. I'm just getting some troll
Gin.
comments in the chat.
Gin.
Yeah, gin.
It is rough. I mean, every once in a while, I'll drink a beer and like know that it's going to be painful, and I'm just like, it's worth it.
Yeah, depends on how drunk you are when you make those decisions, though, right? It's like rolling out of one pub into another. Stuff it, I'll have a beer. But yeah, the good thing right now is like, can you drink vodka, for example? You know, I've never really been a vodka drinker myself, but you know, you could pour a little bit on your hand, and you know, you've got your
hand sanitizer.
Hand sanitizer, and then
apparently you can drink hand sanitizer too if you're. There was a story in the States a while back of kids of young kids in school. They were apparently licking the hand sanitizers off of their hands and getting drunk in schools. I mean, listen,
it's possible.
This is why I don't argue with anyone who says that Americans are stupid. Like I can't. Like if this is what's happening in the world, then I'm not supporting any of this.
No, they banned Tipex in England. Like you know, white corrector.
Oh yeah, okay, white out.
You know, yeah, because the kids were taking it out and sniffing it, and yeah, it just happens everywhere. Kids are kids, aren't they? Don't say you didn't try it.
I don't know.
I don't remember what it smells like, to be honest. I remember smelling the permanent marker pens. I remember smelling
I still
those.
do that. I love it. I love it. Yeah.
This is all about like the creative space. This is why we do what we do.
Yeah. You've got
because
to
apparently
let your
we
mind
were
wander.
huffing glue in school.
But you know how you said that you know you don't forgive Americans for being stupid. Let me tell you, every country has a definite body of stupid people. Every country, you know, and it's when you go through things like what's happening right now in the world. That's when the stupid really comes to the front, doesn't it? I mean, the toilet paper would have to be. Everyone's experiencing the stupidness of toilet paper everywhere around the world. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Like, you know, it's like. Out of all the things, you know, there's a zombie apocalypse, right? Out of all the things, there's a zombie apocalypse. What is everyone going to do? We're going to buy toilet paper. It's gonna, you know, it's going to save us. It's just crazy. The weird.
All the beans and bread have gone down here now, but like the real things that would keep you alive, like high calorific chocolate, there's loads of. You know, so you'd be well alive. They can eat the bean. But I'm a bit upset because I like baked beans. That's how I've afforded all my synths. So they've actually stolen my tea.
Baked
so
beans
I'm now having to
noodles.
Yeah, so I'm a bit peeved, but
you go into your shop, right? And there's shelves of pasta empty. There's shelves of rice missing. There's shelves of toilet paper missing. And then you go into the fruit and veg section and it's packed. And you think to yourself, okay, this virus, it's like it attacks people that are sick and not healthy. So wouldn't you be like logically thinking, well, if I eat something healthy, maybe that might actually be beneficial to me? Like I remember going there the other day, and there was like this massive, huge, because oranges, I don't know when they're in season, but there was this massive, huge orange, like fruit display in the supermarket, and there was at least 2,000 or 3,000 oranges on display, and there was empty toilet paper aisles, empty rice, empty pasta. But you know, if oranges are packed with vitamin C and all the, you know, they're healthy. Like, why don't you just buy a bag of oranges instead of a bag of toilet paper? I mean, just a thought. At the worst case, you know, is if you got sticky orangey fingers, at least your scents would smell nice and citrusy. It wouldn't be too bad. I guess there would probably be even a little bit of, you know, with the citric acid, and then there'd probably even be some sort of natural hand sanitizer in that as well. I'm you know, I'm putting it out there. Everyone should buy oranges. Let's fight the coronavirus with oranges. People were saying
they do make a great screwdriver.
They do, and we talked about vodka before, didn't we? So yeah,
exactly. That's throwback. callback.
Hey, everything's relative. Everything's relative. Someone was saying before that the most stupidest people in the world seem to be the politicians at the moment. I'm definitely not going to disagree with that. I think just about every country is experiencing stupid politician syndrome. There's a few minor ones that are doing pretty decent things.
Depends on whether or not you consider being self-serving stupid or not.
Wow, I mean, it's how stupid is self-serving. But yeah,
Exactly.
When you get a politician that literally sits back and waits to see what other countries do and then goes, we're now going to implement whatever, and other countries have done it before them, it's kind of like, let's see if they stuff up first before we do it. But really, at the end of the day, what we need is people who are actually like leaders, people who are forward thinkers, who aren't scared to make decisions. That's what we need. We don't want followers.
Hey, let me ask you something way off topic, but related to being stuck inside. One thing that I've kind of noticed people doing is because people are inside more, they're starting to modify their gear, and they're spending more time in their studio space, whatnot. Is there anything that you've been meaning to get to modify in your studio that you're going to get around to doing, or anything to that nature? Have you thought about any of that stuff? Because I have like a lot of projects like that.
I've got heaps. Maybe start with Inky. Inky, do you want to have a crack at that? Have an answer that one.
No, I've got a business plan to get in a week, so that's what I'll be doing. But that's kind of good because I don't have to go out. I can do that for my degree, like a musical business plan. So, but after that, I've just got to do a portfolio. So, nothing technical yet. But after that's all run out, I might start taking decks apart or something, just if I get bored.
While Inky was talking,
What, you pulling that, Rand?
I was just grabbing something. You could probably hear the noise. I've had projects going on for ages on the boil, and one of the problems I've had is when I started the project, I started them in either it's early January or late December. Then we had these bushfires here in Australia, which were nasty. Then we had the Chinese New Year, so if you ordered anything from China, it was delayed by 2 or 3 weeks because they were closed. And then after that, there was this COVID-19 problem. So I literally it took me about 2 months to get some of the stuff. And so I've got this Eurorack project that I've shown on the stream before, which is like a geez, things are falling out. I better go grab that in a sec. That's kind of like an oscilloscope thing that you can buy off of eBay. It's one of those, DSO do-it-yourself oscilloscopes. And I wanted to put it together with a Eurorack case. Now, let me just try and find it while we're here. I don't have enough space on my desk. You can see there's a box full of stuff here. I just wanted to show Ken because I thought Ken would be interested. There's part of it. It's a little, is that a 2 HP, sorry. I'll show him the other bit. So the problem I've got is I'm still waiting for stuff to come from overseas to finish these projects. And I have got bags and bags and bags of gear that I've just got like in dribs and drabs from overseas. Like it's just never ending, right? For this little project. And I can't start it yet. So, Ken, you might have to wait just a sec while I try and find it. Here we go. It was right down the bottom of my box. That is the actual Eurorack plate. It's by a company called Plum Audio. And basically it converts a eBay type DSO oscilloscope that you can get. I'll show you. Let's just see. We can show this bit. Ooh, it's flapping around in the breeze there. So that's just like a real basic sort of do-it-yourself project you can buy for about 30 bucks, and then that just will mount behind your little Eurorack module, and it will turn into a CV-based or audio-based oscilloscope, which means I'll be able to look at waveforms and stuff or whatever on my Eurorack. And it's a massive project. I actually thought it would be an absolute simple thing, but it's massive because I've also got to do things like power converters on it. And so it ended up being huge. And so anyway, the good news is I've got everything now, and it's only taken 3 months. But yeah, that will probably take me, because I'm not very good with soldering and I'm just very basic with it. But there's SMC components, they're tiny. Has anyone ever attempted to do SMC stuff? Like, yeah, that is a tiny little SMC component there, you know, you can see how small they are. And you got to solder those on. That's, by the way, that's actually connected. You got to snap it off. Kane, have you ever done any SMC stuff? Any soldering?
Oh yes. Yeah, a few of my modules in my rack are like my mutable instruments elements I built myself, and that's all SMD, and that was actually the first time I had ever done SMD soldering. And he uses, what is it, 0604, so
Yeah.
it's like literally like grains of salt size resistors in there. That was super fun, with a hugely sarcastic inflection to that. So yeah, I've done quite a few SMD at this point. The best thing I would say about that kind of stuff is I really enjoy doing synth DIY. Like, it's like a different part of the brain kind of thing.
Me too. Yeah.
You know. So what I would say to people that want to do that sort of thing is I'm also a massive cheapskate. So a lot of that kind of stemmed from like, oh, I want to do synth DIY because it's going to be cheaper to build my own modules than to buy them. That's not always the case. You have to realize that, one, how much do you get paid hourly? And if you're doing this in your off time, how much do you get paid when you're on time and a half? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So your own personal hours, is it enjoying that time doing it, or do you not enjoy doing it? So you have to take that into account. And then you have to take into the account, well, you're not a pro, so you might screw this up, and is that something that you can factor in? And then, of course, the tools that you buy to do this stuff. So one thing that I recommend to people is, if you're going to do it, buy a decent soldering iron first, because if you start out doing synth DIY projects with a really crappy soldering iron, like, if you're really good at soldering, having a crappy soldering iron, you can get by and be okay. But if you're new to synth DIY and you have a good soldering iron, it's going to be a whole lot easier than if you're new to synth DIY and you have a bad soldering iron, because your soldering already sucks, and now the tool that you're using is making it even harder for you.
Yeah.
You're better off just biting the bullet, buy the nicer soldering iron now, make life easier for you, and you'll probably end up enjoying it and doing more projects because of that. So that was like probably the best investment for me, was getting a Hako, what is it, the 8888? I don't know, FXD, whatever it is. You know, it's a nice digital soldering iron, and you could set the temperature. It's really easy to change the tips, you know, and it heats up really quickly. So I got that. I have a
Variable,
I bought a
variable
nice
temperature.
holder.
Yeah. One that you can vary the temperature. And the one that you, like you said, the one you can change the tips. Yeah. Because you need, when you're doing, like, I use, my favorite tip is a chisel tip. And if you just buy a standard soldering iron from some, you know, like Costco or wherever, Walmart, it'll have a little pointy tip on it. And that isn't always actually helpful for when you're doing a lot of electronic projects. So, yeah, if you can change the tip and have a chisel tip, have a pointy tip, have thicker tips. The other thing too, Ken, you probably will back me up on this, is most people that buy soldering irons will buy a really thick solder. And so, because it's the standard like gauge solder that's out there is, I think it's like 1 millimeter or something. It's really, really thick, and it will just spew solder out all over your circuit board. And it's better to get a finer solder, like preferably with the flux already in it. so that you're not having to, paste flux on and solder. Like, it's better to have one that's got the core of the solder with the flux in it. And I always recommend like a 0.5 or less millimeter, very fine solder, because then you can control how much comes out. And yeah, you might end up having to push a lot of solder into, but it's much better to do that than to have a big blob and it's just spilling out everywhere and you got to clean it up. So definitely variable, definitely exchangeable tips, and definitely get something sort of decent in terms of like a solder. I think I've shown this on the stream before anyway, so I don't know if you ever watched that, Ken. I actually soldered on this stream once. it was pretty,
Oh, really?
I've
pretty bad.
I've actually done quite a few live streams of soldering things and that sort of thing. Like I used to do a lot of like synth DIY stuff on YouTube. You can even see me teaching my daughter how to solder on there and building a module together with her. But yeah, that kind of stuff to me is like, it's a really nice way to like, it's like people who do puzzles and that sort of thing. It's a nice break from what you're doing in your studio, and it kind of gives your brain like a different workout. So it's really nice to do that kind of thing. As far as little projects in my studio, like while things are down, I have some Eurorack modules that I kind of want to modify. I'm going to see if I can change some of the screens in my modules, like the little plastic plates on them. See if I can make them neon green. So I'm going to see if I can get some neon green acrylic and whatnot. And I have a JX3P that I'm still doing some heavy refurbishment to. I've got all the voices working, but I have a buddy of mine that's he does auto body repair, and the back panel is like severely dented in, so I'm going to take it to him and have him flatten it out and everything, and so that should be cool. But mainly aesthetic things in my studio. I'm still working on my acoustic treatment as well, so I'll be working on some of that this month. You
can't actually hear, like, you can hear with mine. There's definitely a bit of reverb with because my mic is actually quite a distance away from me. It's like, anyway, that at least that far away from my face. So if I was to bring that a lot closer, I mean, I'll be louder and everything, but it would be less reverby. But I might need to put some acoustic treatments up in here too. I think either that or curtains.
I'm doing completely custom diffusers and everything. Like, that's been the plan since day one, but it costs money. So like we've been working out new plans too, because once we're done with it, we're going to offer some of these plans up online as well. And also the guys that I'm building these with are professional carpenters. So we may be selling some custom panels and whatnot as well. But yeah, I'm going to be doing custom bass traps and custom diffusers and and custom absorbers as well.
So speaking of DIY, I think Darren could probably sort of tell us a little bit about what he's been doing over in that corner. You notice now he's actually got a different camera angle, and he's quite comfortable for us to see that little section over there. You can see all the flashing lights. He's been slowly building. Ken, he's kind of set up here, and you'll know that he's got a Create Audio case up the top there. Is that, Darren? Is that right? You got the Create Audio Eurorack case up the top, and you got a couple of other things. Run through what you got there.
Sorry.
This is your new section.
Is it? Well, I've got the DFAM just above the Create Audio case, with Clouds, Metropolis, and Polygogo in the case. Erebus 3. The Erebus version 1. The Strymon Big Sky, and then the TRA.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously you can see the two Waldorfs. But it's not finished. It's going to be on hold for a bit with all this no money situation. And hopefully I won't have to sell anything.
I'm just going to take your title off so we can actually see. You've got like a little MIDI controller thing there as well. Yeah, there you go. That's better. So you can see you've got the push, and you've got next to it, you've got like a MIDI controller as well, which has got a whole bunch of knobs on it.
There.
Yep.
Yeah, the MIDI fighter, the Touche,
Yep.
and a little sub mixer which I want to get rid of and put a big mixer over the other side.
Yep. Cool, cool. So that, I mean, when we're talking projects, it doesn't have to be like Ken was saying that he likes to get into the DIY stuff. There are other people who just don't believe in that at all. They find that a waste of time and they want to just get on to making music. And some people actually like rewiring their studios with cabling and things like that. And some people like just, there's so many different things we can do during this sort of lockdown period, isn't there? I'll probably do a bit of both.
Yeah. Well, can I just say, we're talking about collaborating.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Daz are collaborating at the moment on a track, well, a music video. What's happening is it's quite a unique. Instead of like actually creating on the track, I'm doing the track, and I asked Daz if he'd do me some video footage. So what ended up happening is he's sort of doing the video for the track that he's not heard. He sends me some of the video. I put it to the track. He has no clue what the track's going to sound like. I give him a rough what I would like in the video, and then he's gone off and done it, which is really cool, I've got to say. And what happens is I put the video into the track that I'm working on, and I found that looking at the video that he shot changes the track that I had for the idea, which is really cool because he doesn't know what the track is, and I didn't know what the video was that was going to come across. So the track now has evolved into his video as well as the idea I had originally. So that's quite a cool way of working because it sort of sets your mind on, you just completely really concentrate, and then you get thrown over a piece of material that had nothing to do with what you had in vision, and then the whole track's completely, I won't say completely changed, but it's gone a slightly different way than I was originally going, but it's a lot better for it.
Yeah, that's good. I actually think that's actually a really cool idea. I didn't even know you guys were doing that. I like how you said that, like, when he sent you a video, it actually kind of manipulated the change in direction that you went with the track. I reckon that's cool because we are definitely influenced by visuals, definitely.
Well, it wasn't about that. Originally asked me if I wanted any video work, because I hadn't got the cameras. He was going to practice with his new camera. So I sent him a few ideas I had for the video, or what I would like to see to go with the track, because it's essential for the track. And then he went off, did his ideas, did a few edits, did his ideas again, sent me the first edit over, which then I put, like I say, into the track. And I found myself coming up with new ideas and new involvement for the track just from what he come up with, and he had no clue, and he still hasn't heard the track yet neither. So yeah, it's not far off being finished.
That's awesome. Looks like Ken wants to show us.
And it's part of the Orbital Glitch album as well, so it's a track from that.
Ken wants to show us something, I think.
I'll just show you something real quick. So I'm still digging stuff out of my old studio, and I dug this out earlier. So this is actually like a little synthesizer that I hand built a while ago, and I'm kind of rediscovering it, which it's obviously very rough and tumble. But yeah, like I just got like a plastic case from like a Radio Shack or off of Amazon, I think it was, and then I just kind of drilled holes into it and mounted all my circuitry inside of it. And what's really funny is I think there's two power sources. There's a 9-volt here, and then I also have availability for 9-volt power here, and there's my on-off switch. But yeah, like I never finished the back panel, but it's basically modular. And yeah, it's just little projects like this where you're like, oh, I have an idea. So like I put like a bunch of oscillators in here. I put like a power starve and filtration distortion circuit in here, and then I did like a little PT2399 delay inside of here with little trigger buttons for it, and so like I can jump the times and feedback amount. But yeah, just little oddball ideas like this for just to kind of do something different,
Yeah.
That and firmware and software updating. A lot of that.
Yeah, don't
There's
you
a
reckon
lot of software and firmware that needs to get updated.
those people that release firmware, right? I have got a little gripe about that. We all have our accounts registered with these people. We have all registered our products with these people. We have all got logins to their whatever it is. And why can't they send an email to us to say they've updated the firmware? I always find I have discovered there's a firmware update for something and it happened like a year ago, just purely because I just happened to log into their download section on their website. I just find that actually really annoying. I don't know if anyone shares that with me, but why can't they just email us when they've updated the firmware or something?
I still haven't got round to updating my Digitone because the whole process looks a bit. It doesn't look that easy. So that could be a day.
Isn't it just done
Updating
through
the
USB though?
Digitone.
You just do it over USB, don't you?
Oh, I'm not sure. Nothing. To me, Tron is that easy. It might just be me. But I'm not.
Is it anything like the? I don't know if you remember watching the Analog 4 video that I did. Because remember how they released that firmware update for Analog 4 Mark 1, and that thing's been around since 2013. It was like there was nothing for years and years and years, and then all of a sudden they updated the firmware on that, and I did a video on that, and it was literally just a piece of software on your Mac called C6, I think it's called. C6. You can download C6 from the Electron website, and then you just drop a file in that, and it's just fine. If you've got your USB connected to your Electron thingamy, it just does it. I wouldn't be worried about it, Inky. I think it'd be easy.
I get where Inky is at. I think it's just that she's not in love with that, so it's like I'm not bothered with an update in case it all goes pear-shaped anyway. It works as it is.
Probably a bit of that. Yeah, definitely a bit of that.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of that.
Someone's double.
I'm the same.
But you know when you get an update and you go,
going.
it's got one little thing I might find interesting, but it's not. Wow, great! Oh my God, that's great! I've got to update it now. It's like I might use it one day in the future.
Yeah, and you hope that it doesn't crash the thing that it's updating.
That's what I'm scared of. I've got to be honest. I don't have a problem with the NPCs. People say they crashed. I've never had a problem, but this Digitone, I'm not so sure about.
Yeah.
I can see a blank screen or pigment.
I was going to ask.
Or something that worked fine for you before decides it doesn't work now.
Wagoo is in the
Heck,
chat.
I wouldn't know. Can't use it now.
Guys, Wagoo's in the chat, and he's just mentioned the 002. Are you referring to this 002? The RK002? And you just literally, that's the cable itself. You literally connect that up to MIDI through web MIDI. I don't know if he's talking about that or not, but that automatically tells you if there's updates for that cable, and that's through RetroKits. That's pretty cool. I've noticed that Novation do that too with their web based interface too, which I think is pretty good. He's talking about the modal 002. Okay, cool. Fair enough. Different thing. Different 002. Anyway, so where did we get with the collaboration thing? Well, maybe what we'll do is we'll leave it for
Lorenz, just real quick.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hop off because I know that my brain is gonna be completely sidetracked now because I just found a module that's not working and I won't be able to think about anything else until that's done. Send me any information, and what I'll say this is, as far as a collaboration, I'm gonna be working on some samples today, and I'll see if I can't send you a file, and we'll move from there. But I'm gonna go because my brain is now completely. I won't be able to think about anything else.
We're wrapping the stream up anyway, so
I've got to fix it.
You might want to just stay for 5 seconds while we say goodbye anyway. So I'm just going to say, with with the show, I think we'll leave it at that. And what we'll do is we'll just sort of work something out offline. What am I saying? And in between now and the next time we bring this topic up, it might not be next week. It might be a couple of weeks down the track. Give us time to sort of do it. Definitely. I think it's going to be. This is going to kind of be a work in progress type topic. I think it's something that you just can't definitely handle in one show. Not even in an hour. It's so big. So I think going through some sort of experience, and Inky, with your experience with your research that you did at uni. I think all of that's going to come in handy. So how we go about it, we don't know. Some of us are busy with work and that, so I understand. So we'll not commit to anything just yet, but we'll put a pin in it for now and watch this space, I guess. If anyone on the live's chat wants to be part of it, let us know. Absolutely, let us know. So
he's fixed it.
He's fixed it already.
Hey!
All right,
He just unplugged it in.
I didn't hear that.
That had my heart going for a second there.
Yeah, it's like one of his babies losing a child or something, isn't it?
Oh,
To
man.
Ken.
Yeah, I would have been seriously upset because I spent a lot of time soldering on this module to fix it a while back, and yeah, I would have really lost my mind, like really badly. So yeah. So, sorry about that.
All right. Well, we might be able to have maybe more than, I reckon. Even if we had 3 or 4 people, maybe even 5 people involved in this, it'd actually be pretty interesting to see, because there'll be that factor, like I said before, of the collaboration. It'll keep a little project on the back burner. But anyway, I think we've just about done the stream. So thank you everyone who came along. Thank you to all the chatties. Let's have a quick look at all the chatties that are still here. Big thank you to all you guys that are in chat. I didn't get around to saying hi to you, but I'll just say, I'll say a very warm bye to everyone there. So that's for sure. And also a big thank you to the 3 beautiful and wonderful callers that have come in. So Darren, Ken, and Inky, thanks very much for joining us this week. We definitely are going to do another show next week, so stay tuned. It won't be about this topic, it'll be something else, but we'll see what happens anyway in between. Anyway, wave goodbye everyone. Thank you for watching, and we'll end the stream now. See you later.
I'll take care.